Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation on how do I view those that I teach. Now for my first question, I had how can I learn to love all my students, even the ones who are troublesome? Where I grew up and where I went to high school, I had really rough students, so I know that there are rough students everywhere. Because of where I lived, I had a little bit more, I think, than the average high school. But yeah, I wanted to study and learn from others on how to love my students. And one of them is remember that they're human too. They have feelings, and we shouldn't always put them down or try to make them feel like they're worthless. Have compassion for them. We don't know what they are going through at home. My mom would always say that most of the time kids will lash out in school because they aren't getting the attention at home or they are having a rough time at home. That may not always be the case. They're literally just being brats to be brats. But sometimes it is that way. They don't have a good home life and they're not getting the attention that they need. And they will lash out at school and get in fights or get in ISS or OSS. So we need to have compassion for them and still be strict, but not too harsh. And then Savannah, she said try to view them the way Christ would, and I totally agree with this. I always try to challenge myself to see everyone as God's children, and that He loves everyone on this earth, even the ones who are terrible. And it's really hard to do that, but I think if we have that mindset, we'll be happier towards our students and be able to have more love for them. My next question is, will I be able to understand / help a student when they are of a different faith or no faith at all? For me, growing up in the South, there's Christians everywhere, but there's also people who aren't. Yes, helping a student is always possible. Listen to what they have to say, even if we don't agree. We may be able to understand them better if they talk about their point of view, and that is what Savannah said. Once again, amazing comments. Thank you, Savannah. I really loved this because I do this to my friends all the time. I'll be like, well, I'll listen to you, and then I'll give them my side as well. And that kind of helps balance it out most of the time. And if they listen to you, then you can give students and even just people in general, like friends and family, some good advice. So you can't just be one-sided. You can, but I think it's good to have like that mindset as, oh, I see what you're saying, let me give you my advice, and if they take it, that's great. If they don't, well, I think just keep trying and try to keep helping them. And then Jake, my partner for this week, said pray for them, and I totally agree with that. I love prayer. Prayer works all the time. Excuse me. And I will definitely be praying for my students who are having a rough time, or even just when they're not, just to help them come into class with a open heart and a good attitude, and hope that I can teach them the best that I can. My last question is, how can I make my students feel as if they are family in their class? Since I'm teaching theater, casts, they're a big family if they really get to know each other and when they're with each other all the time because of rehearsals. Excuse me again. And I think having that kind of same relationship in the classroom is super important. A point is make them feel welcome and have an inviting classroom. I always enjoyed going into a classroom when I knew that I was welcomed in there and that I could talk to the teacher and be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? How was your weekend? And not just sit down and be like, oh, this class again. So I want to be that teacher that people can be like, oh, yes, I'm going to theater. I'm going to have fun. The next thing is get to know your students, build a bond with them by doing different activities. I think activities are great. It gets the kids up and have more energy, or maybe even like brighten their day because they're like, oh, I was feeling sad, but because we did this activity and it made me smile, I'm feeling a lot better. That happened to me all the time. And then Jake said, don't let them divide in their cliques. In theater, there's a lot of things that happen, and even in regular high school and like classes, there's a lot of cliques, a lot, and it stinks. Like, it naturally happens even if we don't mean to. So like, I was kind of part of different cliques, which was kind of good in a way. Like, I enjoyed being with the band kids and the choir kids and the theater kids, and even like just different kids in my class that weren't in a specific clique. But he was saying whenever you do an activity, try to divide them up to where they're with different people and to get to know them. Maybe not the ones that like have contention towards each other if you see that in a classroom, because that will cause really bad things. But like, get someone from the band and someone from the football team and someone from the cheerleading squad, like just something like that. Get them together, and hopefully it will build a great environment to where we can act like a family. Thank you for watching my presentation.